No Democrat voted against this measure to keep the government open, but 34 Republicans did. Doesn't this show that Republicans really struggle to govern when they pass things along party lines? I mean, won't they need to work with Democrats in this new Congress?
Well, I think it's very, very important that Speaker Johnson and incoming Majority Leader Thune have a steady plan together to work with the incoming Trump administration to prioritize the president's priorities, our priorities in the House and Senate, make sure we're on the same page, because with narrow majorities, we've got to work together, and that's critical, and I think this last week demonstrated that.
Well, you will have a fractured conference, a slim majority. Mark Short, who was the director of legislative affairs in the first Trump administration, said this chaos shows just how hard it will be to tackle border and tax policies in 2025. What's the reality check on the timing of that and actually delivering on what Trump campaigned on?
Well, I think Speaker Johnson and again, Majority Leader Thune working with President Trump want to use the budget reconciliation process. That's still being discussed as to exactly what that procedure will be. But I believe actually that Republicans on both sides of the Hill are united that we want to unleash American energy for future production and an all-of-the-above energy strategy. We want to secure the border. We want to fight inflation through supply-side regulatory reforms. We want to roll back those regulations that are constraining the markets and constraining private business having access to capital. So I think we're on the same page, and I think budget reconciliation will be a way to start that process and also rein in unsustainable $2 trillion deficits.
Right, but you can do a party line vote in the Senate there with the Republicans, but can you really get 218 Republicans to vote in the same direction when it was such a struggle just with keeping the lights on?
I think we can. I think we demonstrated that last year in the last Congress when we put together the most comprehensive Republican-only voting for border security, for an all-the-above energy strategy. Those are two priorities that President Trump campaigned on. We are united on those strategies, and I think we can get those priorities across the House floor, as well as I say, rolling back unneeded regulatory burden on the American economy and small businesses to help fight inflation.
Well, one of the things that was stripped out of that initial bipartisan deal that Speaker Johnson had put together was a restriction on U.S. investments in China. It would have affirmed presidential authority to impose sanctions on advanced technologies. Your Democrat colleague, Rosa DeLauro, insinuated publicly that Elon Musk came out against this because his real motivation was his extensive business ties to China. Do you share her concerns, and will this get passed?
Well, look, President Biden had an executive order governing outbound investment. We've had a debate in Congress between the House and Senate on the best way to do that. We all want to limit American investment in dangerous, I would say, dual-use technologies that can be turned around and hurt America's national security. But striking that balance has been difficult. But I don't believe that was at the heart of the 1,500-page problem. I think a majority of members clearly wanted a simple, straightforward continuing resolution and not what was turned into a large omnibus spending bill on top of a CR. So I think Speaker Johnson did a good job coming back around from that, focusing on disaster assistance to the hurricane hurt states in the Southeast, farm assistance for those farmers, and having a clean CR with an agreement with President Trump, with Majority Leader Thune on how we would tackle reconciliation to cut spending next Congress.